Hello, welcome back. This is part 9 of the next 31 days. Halloween's getting closer, and this in here went a little bit darker, I guess. Anyway, it starts like this. How did you sleep last night? The darkness began to lighten around me, and I found myself right back where I had left off a couple of days ago. The demon teaching me how darkness works its magic on people's minds was still showing herself as a little girl in a red dress and still holding the red balloon. Turning around, I saw the guy heading towards the grocery section of Wal-Mart to get his beer, and the other demon was still standing by the woman at the checkout counter and staring at me. Kind of creepy. Anyway, it seemed no time had passed that day to this day. So these things aren't really happening, I asked, turning back to her. Oh yes, they are happening constantly, every day. But you have to figure out if this is current or the past or something about to be soon. She smiled as if her explanation made perfect sense and turned around to continue our walk. Now, if I remember correctly, we were going to work as a team to manipulate people today, correct? That seemed to be taking it a bit extreme, but what the heck. At this point, I wasn't sure what was up or what was down. She turned and looked at me. The balloon is up. She let it go, and we both watched it float up towards the ceiling. It hit a sprinkler and popped. The busted balloon and the string attached to it came swirling back down and hit the floor between us. And what is it now? Down? I asked. See, you do know. Now come on, quit making this more difficult than it needs to be. She turned away but stopped when I shook my head. No. Slowly turning around, she looked up at me. What do you mean, no? I want to know about that guy with all the newspapers in his house. I want to know why you all tell me you'll show me something later, but never do. You all said you were going to show me how darkness truly works, but every time I ask a serious question, I get told, we'll get to it later. She tilted her head to the side, and it seemed as if her eyes became even more darker, if that was possible. What do you mean? I said, well, for example, I asked the other one what an NPC was. He told me he would explain it later. I asked you about the importance of names. You said you would get to that later. I asked about Satan, and you said later. I asked you how energy works, which he also mentioned, and you both said you would explain it later. I asked you how energy causes bigger things to happen. I asked you what bigger things were, and again, you said you'd get to it later. You said I need to understand how you work first, and it seems I'm only getting the runaround. She gave me a curious look. What do you want to know, or why do you want to know how we work anyway? You ignored my question, I said. You are not answering my serious questions. For the first time, I noticed hesitation. She glanced around as if she might be being watched. I haven't been ignoring your questions, she eventually answered. There are simply things you can't understand without knowing other things. Try me. I'm more capable of understanding than you think I am. I was really getting tired of the runaround. She glanced around again before saying, let's just do what we talked about last time we talked. Learn about manipulation. We are going to do it together, remember? I nodded. Yes, I do remember. But I want these other questions answered first, the ones all of you keep avoiding. And besides that, I have more questions I'd like to know about. How does religion work into all of this? Where did you come from? Who created you? Are you a fallen angel or something else? No, we are not fallen angels. We are workers. She smiled. See, I can answer any questions I want. Now let us continue. She turned back around and started walking. What about the other questions? She paused for a moment, her back to mine. Something seemed wrong. As if trying her best to keep her anger under control, she slowly turned back around to face me. She looked as if she was forcing herself to smile. I said, we'll get to those questions later. Something felt off about this entire situation. There was something she was hiding, and for a reason. Currently, she was just standing there with her teeth and fists clenched tight, while doing her best to hold that smile. Now, she managed to say through her clenched jaw, we are going to continue this or not. At first I felt like backing down, but something told me not to. Explain to me bigger things first. Just answer that one, and we'll go back to these lessons, as you call them. What do you mean by energy helps you do bigger things? What kind of bigger things? Bigger things, she growled, taking a step towards me. Just bigger things. What kind of bigger things? Just bigger things. She growled again and began to change shape. She went from the little girl back to black vapors and then back to the little girl again. Bigger things. She switched to vapors again, but then came back as the woman in the white dress instead of the little girl. Bigger things. She took it another step closer, but I didn't back up. These were the kind of questions I wanted to be answered. What are bigger things? It was almost as if I could see a red glow around her as she stood there. The anger seemed to be pulsating through her. Little things lead to big things. Do you not understand this? Angry at your job, anger because of your life, jealousy, envy, all of those 7 deadly sins, frustration, anxiety, being in a hurry, worrying, depression, all of these little emotions can help lead to bigger emotions. Hatred to other people, hatred towards yourself. That hatred can lead to even bigger things from there. Taking that hatred to another level, even envy for that matter, or being hated, having a hatred towards you in these questions, for example. Wanting something you are not allowed to have to a point where you do anything to get it. She took another step closer, stopping right in front of me, staring me straight in the eyes. Suicide, killing, mass shootings, terrorist, rape, war, genocide. If you can name the most horrific crimes imaginable, you can find it all started with the smallest of negative emotions that grew over time, and it soon became a poison into their minds. The more poison a person allows into their thoughts, the bigger things that we can get them to do. Bigger things happen. We provide that poison. We are poison. Without warning, she screamed as she was flung away. She hit a shelf and almost seemed to explode back into a vapor of black mist. For example, I want you dead now. The screaming, which seemed to be a mixture of anger and torment, consumed me. It seemed to be directed straight at me, and the cloud began moving towards me as well. The screaming continued, and as soon as it reached me, it all of a sudden stopped, and the vapors looked as if they were yanked away, and they slammed to the wall on the other side of the store and disappeared. Everything went silent. The next thing I knew, I was back in bed, staring up at the ceiling after waking up, wondering what the hell just happened. Thank you for watching again, and I'm just as curious as you are. I hope you're curious of what happens next. I'm writing these per day as I do them, and so I'll be interested to see how this goes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on episode 10. Thank you.